Welcome back here where we sharpen the iron, polish that rust, make a brand new iron where we build the confidence, stress free, have the freedom, and live a happy life here on this podcast with your host, this guy. Let's be real. Life is never gonna be ready for you, and you're never gonna be ready for life. It's just how it is. And that's how it's gonna be. But at the end, what just comes down to it is how you're gonna keep fighting and how you're gonna keep showing with yourself. And I'm gonna break it down like the setbacks I had this year. I had four major setbacks between personal challenges, car accident, my body crashing, and a breakup and things like that. Now, this is all just going to tell you how I kind of navigate throughout the journey of my time, how I overcame these setbacks. Because again, these setbacks, these adversities can make or break us. They can make it to where we can persevere through these challenges and become a bigger, better, stronger version of ourselves, or they can break us to the point where we're just going to let these challenges, these setbacks, and these adversities depict our life, define our life, and just be in this endless slump of like we're just not good enough. And I totally understand that because like when these setbacks and these challenges come at you full steam ahead, it's like you just like question yourself is like what makes you think like why this happened to me, or is like how come like anything that comes across one way is like doesn't go right. And that's just a negative self-talk that's ingrained into your head that we just have to destroy it over time. And things that things happen for a reason. It is what it is. You can't control the outcome of that setback or the experience. At the end, what you can control is how you respond to it, how you're going to respond to that setback, that adversity, so you can get to the position you want to be, right? So going into my journey of these fours, because like 2024 has been a very hard, times and things that, and might not look like it. Like you might be seeing me doing well, like my physique's on point, like I'm jacked, I'm strong. He's got abs and things that things are good, but it's like behind the scenes of like early on, it's like things weren't good and things that I was still bound through a lot of demons. I was still bound through a lot of setbacks and adversities. So again, I was bound through personal stresses and things that I'm not gonna get a bunch in detail on it, but just like during those times, like beginning of the year, January 2024, is like when that came on board, is like how was I gonna navigate and how was I gonna operate based on the stress, right? Because these stresses can like really take a toll on you. It can make you like, not sleep well. It can make you overthink a lot of things. It can make you not be the person who you are because this stress just comes a lot. But at the end, it's just like how resilient are you gonna be and how you gonna overcome the stress where it's not gonna be like so much of emotional attachment to you, and how you can be detached from emotions and just focus on the actions that you need to take to get yourself out of that stressful time period, right? Moving on is like in February 2024, my body decided to completely crash. No matter what I was eating healthy, I was working out, training hard and things like that, my body just completely 100% crashed. So this was like a negative toll on me because like despite that I was working hard, and then despite the fact that I was eating well, things like that my body completely just crashed and just kind of took a toll to the point. It was like, what is going on here, right? It's like I'm doing all these things, but my body's just not responding what it needs to do. So what was happening was, during these past like two shows I've done, like during these two events where I had drastic cuts and I just didn't properly rebound myself, my body took a toll to where like my nervous system and just like everything that needs to be intact was just completely shot. Like it just didn't know how to operate, just didn't know how to respond. So when I was like eating the foods, I was working out, my stress level was at all time high, make it for my body not to recover. I give you point examples like when I would hit quads on Monday and my quads would be sore all the way till next leg day would be Friday and things like that. So I knew something wasn't right, and I'll be wake up, always like my stomach was always extended, and I was just always inflamed too, and I wasn't getting that much of a hunger response because my body was always in a fight or flight mode. So when I came down to, I told myself, I'll just take a week off from lifting. And for me, taking a week off is very hard because I hardly ever take a week off. Like the longest I've gone was probably like 2 or 3 days, and that's the longest I've gone without working out. But doing the whole week, that was tough for me because I'm always a guy like likes to go to the gym. I get 2 rest days and that's it. Days that, but I require for those 2 rest days. But for me to take a full week off, that was hard because I didn't know what to do because like gym is a big part of my life. So for me to try and take a whole week off and try to figure out what I wanted to utilize my time with something different, it was like that was hard for me. But I knew that's what I needed to do. So I had to drop my ego, let myself really just, relax, take a breather, figure out what's going on, things like that. So during the time, the whole week, I got massage. I just did my walking, all those things like that. Just drive my calories a little bit too, because I didn't need that much because I wasn't really working out. And after that week, my body felt a lot better, and like the stress was reduced. My body was looking better. My body composition was looking better. So it was just like something was up, and I didn't know exactly what it was. And over time, just trying to figure out like maybe it's just like my body was just too much of a stress. And during the time how I shut my body down, based off like again not properly recovering after a drastic cut, was to the point where I was like going back to eating the amount of foods that my body just wasn't used to at the time yet. And also too, I was training to failure on every single set and every single workout and exercise. So like I was lifting heavy on top of I was training failure, and my body just couldn't withstand that feeling and withstand that amount of stress during that operation. And that's what caused my body to completely shut down, because all that stress and the stressors just took over my body, which completely just my body just didn't know how to function. So moving forward is like, during like the past like 3 to 6 months, I had to really kind of like retrain myself and retrain my body to ease it back into it. So what I did was I just like decided to go like, like I lowered the weight a little bit, focus on high reps, just focus on control, technique, form, and things like that. Make sure I was just getting pumped still, and let my body just like slowly like take it slow, but not to the point where like it was setting me back. It was regress for sure, but like I knew it was gonna be progress down the road and things like that. So that's what I was doing, and now I was just trying to find ways like my body can like absorb the nutrients, just finally getting different quality of meals, and like also to rearrange the meals to the point where my body was responding well to it. So that took about 3 to 6 months, and that's what's got me to this point. Is like if I did not do that such early on, I don't think I would probably be at this physique I'll be at right now too. So that was a very big thing to come across. Is like now it's very hard to, because again, working out is my biggest thing. It's a very big part of my life. Also too, just like trying to take a week off, that was hard and things like that. But at the end, it's like you gotta be knowing, and I'm very grateful, and I'm probably say I'll be blessed to have this skill. Is listen to your body, because you gotta understand, it's like your body is gonna be the response, and you know your body best. No one else does but you. So you know your body to the point where like if something ain't right, you gotta definitely listen to your body, because it's telling you something is not right, and you gotta figure out what the issue is. And it might could be just take a couple of days off, just like recover, get your sleep, whatever that case is. But again, you gotta listen to your body, and that response to me doing so has paid a huge toll into where I'm at now and things like that. So I'm very grateful for listening now, because if I wasn't, my body would not be where it's at, and it could be leading to more factors down the road. Moving forward, after while I was doing the thing, back in April 2024, I got in a car accident, completely towed my car. So now this puts another stress onto me, because now I'm like trying to figure out, I got to deal with insurance. I got to figure out how I'm going to get to work. I got to figure out what I need to do. It's like I'm going to be on people's time, not my own time now. So that was a big stress on to the point of kind of rearranging my life and my routine, things that based off like me not having a car. Because again, especially for like a lot of people, like car is a very big liable thing. It's a very like asset to a lot of people to get to places from point A to point B, right? And it goes based on your time. You can do whatever you want with the car. When you don't have a car, that's a different story. So during the time, I had to figure out like, all right, cool. What can I do to get myself close to the gym? Because like I wasn't gonna try to plan on Ubering every single time, just go to the gym, not to go to the gym. So I knew I had a buddy that lived across the street, walking distance. So I called him up. I was like, "Hey man, like cool if I crash on your couch?" And he was cool with that. So for a month, I crashed on my buddy's couch. Was it like the most comfortable? You can say it was, but at the same time, no. At the same time, like, does it change up the environment, or like change up like the way like you have to operate? 100%, because again, it's not your place, it's not your thing. So you gotta respect I gotta respect that my buddy's apartment. I gotta respect like like his space, his operations, all those things like that, right? And his time too. So, but again, I was blessed for him to let me do that, because again, I was able to get to work just by walking. And that's what I had to do. Like, I just walked to work. Like, I probably had to wake up like 15, 20 minutes early to walk to my client, walk to the gym to train my clients. And that's a solution I had to do. It was like, yep, I'm going to have to do that and things like that. So, like, it'll be like 3:45 in the morning. I'll be waking up, like I would like leave his apartment by like 4:30, quarter off, walk to the gym, train my clients early in the morning, and I'll just go back and forth by walking. And that's the only way I would get to work, and they said. So that's how I made it happen. Was like, regardless of what was going to happen, I was going to figure out a way to get to myself to work because I knew at the end I had to show up for my clients, no matter regardless of what was going on with my personal stuff. I have to be there for my clients because again, they're signing up for me, and they're relying on me to help them get to achieve the results and things like that. So I knew I had to find different ways to show up for my clients despite the fact that what was going on. Secondly, it was like, like I still stay on my meals and things like that. So like it was just finding time to go grocery shopping. Again, on his time, I can't do it on my own time. So it'd be kind of throw out my routine a little bit because I'm gonna do on Saturdays, sometimes it'd be Sundays, sometimes it'd be a little bit different, and all those things like that. And if I did forget a couple things, like out the way or try to grab the things and stuff like that. So it's again like you're relying on people's time, but not your own time. So that was a big stressor and things like that. And on top, when we were staying here, like his AC broke too. So April and May is around the time where Houston starts to get very hot and things like that. So trying to sleep in like 80-degree, temperature, that's also not a greatest thing as well. And it's just is what it is. Like, it's just unfortunate at the same time that went to stay there, the AC just decided to bust on him. So, that was a rough I'll say a couple weeks and things like that. And on top, especially two walk-ins, like I had to leave like 15, 20 minutes early just to go to the gym just to cool off. Because again, it'd be like 78 degrees. I'll be walking, I'll be sweating, things like that. So try and cool off before I train my clients so I can get at least like, look decent versus like me training, sweating my ass off in front of them, dripping. So that was another thing too. I mean, again, like there was so many different ways I could have gone about it, but those are the solutions I found. Those are the solutions that made me to again keep showing up and like persevere through whatever it is. And at the same time, while I was still able to look for a car, while I was still able to try and figure out like, cool, how can I go about it and things like that. Because the time I did get a rental car, but I only got a rental car till like, probably end of May or end of April. Excuse me. So the rental car didn't last that long. So after the rental car, I had to figure out what's my next solution, things like that. And I was blessed to have a buddy that lived close to the gym and he would let me crash there and things like that. So when things get tough and things like that, you gotta find other things as a solution to it and things like whether like you have your buddies, you can like stay close to work and things like that, make a walking distance, or you got like, buddies can take you to work and things like that, or whatever the case is, like you gotta find a solution to it and then not mope around and decide to. Because and at the same time, the accident, I still had clients to train things like that. So when it happened, I had to cancel one client because it was just running over and things like that. But after the accident, I still went to the gym and trained the rest of my clients that day and things like that. And people were like, "Why didn't you just like call off?" And things like that. It's like I could have, but at the same time, what justice is going to do for me to like call off and like, just stay around and mope around? It's like not like I mean that's just not me. And things like it is what it is. Like the accident happened. Like I can't change the fact. And plus the insurance got to deal with like the information, got to grab the documents and all those things like that. So it's like why and like I'm not gonna put my mind on like the accident things that it's like at the end it is what it is. Like yeah, shit happened. And again, like before I talked about this, like it was completely 100% my fault. Things that shit happens. That's part of life. But at the same time, you just gotta make things happen. You just gotta persevere. You just gotta keep showing up. At the same time, like you can't move around. You just gotta keep going. Just don't let these things, these setbacks, like pull you away from what you need to do or where you're trying to go. So that's how I did, and that's how I operated when I got in an accident. And thankfully, back in June, I was able to find a car, a cash car, and I was able to get myself back up and rolling. Getting back in my own environment of living in my own bed, getting my back in routine, and getting back in my own time. Things like that. So that's the end of that. Then moving forward, the last setback anniversary of July 2024, I get out of a long term relationship. And like this relationship, is different versus like all the other ones because it's something that I built special over with this person, like the emotional connection. And it's like it might be like weak or soft to talk about and things like that. But it's like when you go through a heartbreak or something like that, and when you kind of imagine that you can like have a different life with that person and just kind of think about all those things, as like you're kind of choosing love for that person versus choosing love for yourself. So it's like at the same time that was very difficult because like you would do these things or like you'd like imagine and picture all these things and like at the end of time it's like when you go through a heartbreak it's like it's hard to kind of navigate and showcase on like all right like you just gotta move on. It is what it is. Again, unfortunately we just didn't work out. We weren't compatible, but it's like you gotta figure out like how to again suppress those emotions, not really suppress those emotions, but again, don't let those emotions, depict your decisions or just let you be in that state of mind where like, like you're just not going to do the things you need to do. use that as like motivation, use that as drive to get you where you want to be. Because at the end, it's like those emotions is going what's going to keep you stuck and is what's going to keep you thinking over and over about that relationship, right? Yeah, at the end, does it suck that you guys didn't work out 100%? Trust me, I know. Yeah, at the end of the day, does it suck that like it's gonna be different for like because you're used to spending time with that person, now you spend time alone? It's like 100%. But at the same time, like that's what like you just gotta accept the fact. It's like cool, do the same thing you've been doing when you were doing well before you got in a relationship with the person, and then do the same thing you're doing after when when you're not in a relationship with the person, because it's the same day. Like you're loving yourself and you're loving who you are. So when it comes into it, it's like, all right, what's your purpose? What's your mission? Excuse me, and where you try and go. So again, like going through a breakup or going through like ending a relationship, yeah, is it tough? 100%. But at the same time, you gotta find ways to persevere through it. Find ways to not try to recreate those memories in your head, create all these what ifs. Because again, like I said, these what ifs are very toxic and can put you in a state where it's like it could like throw you off. Clarity wise, thinking ability, all those things like that. Like you thinking about all these what ifs can like throw you off the entire day. So like you gotta distract yourself from thinking about that and put yourself in a position where you got to think of what's your purpose, what's your mission, what are your goals, where you driving, where you striving to be, all those things like that. So like during the relationship, it was tough. It took me at least like a month or two to kind of like like accepting the fact that it's done and things that. And then as time goes on, like yeah, does it still hurt every time? Like a memory comes up, 100%. It's just how it is. But it's like over time, when you keep being busy or when you keep pushing yourself for your purpose, is like that feeling is gonna go away because you're chasing a whole different feeling. So when we look at these setbacks and we look at these adversities, again, this is what makes or breaks you, and this is how you have to, I would say, navigate in a way to based on where you're trying to go. And this is like how I'm still showing up, and this is how I'm treating the physique I have right now. Because a lot of times too, people can just see like what you are right now, like what you're doing, and be like, yeah, like like this person's lucky. But at the same time, like a person like his luck is built up based off the actions of what he did. Like they don't look at behind the scenes. Again, like the four setbacks, like I could have put myself in a position where I could just like let it derail me and just like let it take over my life. As opposed to what I just did, I navigate, I fought through it, I persevered through it, I find solutions to the problem, and this is how I'm showing up. And I'm still here. Despite of everything right here, I'm still here. I'm still making this shit happen. So whatever regardless as you guys are going through, fucking deal with it. It is life. It's part of it. Yes. Does it like suck because of different circumstances? 100%. We don't always want to go through it, but again, it's part of life. That's part of the experience. It's part of the journey. I mean, at the end, this is what's going to make you strong, or this is what's going to make you weak. So if you're going to let these setbacks and the adversities and derive the emotions of your feelings towards your decision, towards your goals, is like then like you're just going to be weak minded the entire time. But if you can be the person that perseveres, like no matter how big or little the setback is, even if it's like you just create small wins, just create small wins that's going to persevere you to this from the setback to get you to achieving that purpose and that goal. So don't let that emotions be such a driven factor for you to not achieve something that you're destined to achieve. Like at the end of the day, just let it happen. Like it is what it is. That's how we have to remind yourself. It is what it is. At the end, it's just you can't control it. What you can control is what you do about it. So when it comes to your setbacks, when it comes to adversities, let that really recap, rethink of like why that happened, or think about like how you gonna learn from this failure, how you gonna learn from the setback, right? So when you look at these things, like how can you persevere through this? Like what solutions do you have, and like figure out all the solutions. Exhaust all the resources you have, and then until the point where like you have no more resources, then figure out what you need to do next and things like that. So when again, life is always gonna throw you some type of curveball. At the end of it, it just matters how you're gonna swing at that curveball. So when it comes to setbacks and when it comes to adversity, just accept it, tell yourself it is what it is, find a solution, and move on, persevere, figure out ways to get yourself towards the goal and the destination. All right. So that's my journey of how, the 2024 year, because I understand like 2025 is coming up and probably 2025 might be the same things that are going to come across. You're going to have new setbacks, you have new adversities. And as we're wrapping on 2024, nothing's going to change. You're going to be still the same person that you were in 2024 that you move into 2025. So the only difference is how you're gonna make yourself better, how you're gonna make yourself be more resilient, how you're gonna make yourself more showing up for yourself, right? So that's all things that when it comes down to like moving 2025, how are you going to show up for yourself? So I hope this helps for you guys. I hope you guys get some value. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you in the next episode.